Alright everybody, welcome back. My name as always is Conman to another episode of Heroes of the Storm A to Z. Today we are going to check out Cho'gall. We're going to try to check out Cho'gall anyway. So right now I'm in the try mode here as usual, and I am on Cho, the first half of this ogre two-headed combination. So if you're not already familiar with Cho'gall, he's kind of special because he's two bodies in one. So he actually, you'll see on the screen here, you've got Cho and Gall up on the top. So he's somebody you need to play with two people. So if you're going into Quickmatch, you need to queue with a friend. Team League, you need to queue up with somebody you know. It kind of limits his use if you're going to do ranked and you're going to play Hero League, because that's a solo queue. So if you do get a Cho'gall, you're going to be paired up with somebody that you don't know, and you're not necessarily going to have communication with them. And Cho'gall is a hero that is definitely going to require a little bit of coordination to use effectively. So the way this works is Cho, who's the warrior half, who's I'm playing as right now. He's the driver. He's the guy who gets to go around, do the clicking. You know, it's all his positioning, and then he's the way to do the things. So in the Cho'gall combination, in terms of just staying alive, Cho may be a little bit more important to the group because it's going to rely on Cho to do the positioning and to get the hell out of trouble or into trouble, depending on what your idea may be, excuse me. So you'll see I've got this little thing going on right here. This is actually one of Gall's abilities, and we'll talk about that when we switch over to Gall. So Cho, other than that, I mean, he does have like a big chunk of hit points. You see he's got 7,400 at level 21. Part of that reason is because he is two people. So once you die, that's it. You're going to be two people out. You're going to be two bodies down for that entire death timer. So Cho'gall, he's probably a little bit stronger on 2-lane maps, because on a 3-lane map you're going to have to devote him to a single lane, and that means the rest of your team is going to have to do like a 2 and a 1, maybe rotate using that, so it can be a little bit tough. So on a 2-lane map he's a little bit better. So if there's two people in the one lane, as yourself here as Cho'gall, 3 people can be in another lane, and that works out a little better in terms of body placement and whatnot. He's gonna pair very well with Ariel. Bang the mic, sorry about that. He's gonna pair very well with Ariel, and I think I mentioned that in the Ariel video. The main reason is Ariel's gonna generate energy from damage, both from Cho and Gall. So both of the heroes, if they get crowned, will generate energy for Ariel. So that's pretty much just like free energy all the time. Heals are gonna be up whenever possible. So that being said, other than that, we'll talk about Cho'gall, talk about his trait. He doesn't get any base armor. He can buy his trait. So let's talk about the trait. So the trait here, it's called Ogre Hide. I forget what it's called on the Gall side. We'll take a look. So the way it works is the two halves, the Cho and the Gall, can take turns turning this trait on and off. So right now, my CPU controlled Gall has this on, and you can kind of see this by the icon underneath my feet. Right now it's by Gall. So what this means is Gall has got basically a 25% damage bonus to Gall's attacks. Not to my attacks, but to Gall's attacks. If I were to turn this trait on, you see the icon changes to the orange color. Now I get bonus armor. So now what that does is I get just straight up 25% damage reduction, but my Gall does 25% less damage. So there's a short timer on this. I forgot what the cooldown is. I think it's like 5 seconds. It's a pretty short cooldown. But the thing is, you need to coordinate with your partner when you're going to use this. If you're just kind of hanging back and poking, if you're in a safe spot, obviously you're going to want Gall to have that trait up. But if you're in the middle of a fray and you're getting focus fired, or you're getting attacked, you're taking a lot of damage, you're going to want to have this up by Cho. Cho, if he gets stunned or silenced or anything like that, Cho will be fine, or Cho will be out of commission, I should say, will be CC'd, but the Gall half will still be able to cast. We'll talk about Gall again a little bit further from now. Let's look at the other abilities. So we've got the Q here, Surging Fist. You can begin charging a Surging Fist, activate to dash forward, and the dash range increases by up to 250% however long it's charged. So you'll see here, it is a skill shot. So I can sit here and wave this around. If I don't use it, I'll turn this off. If I don't use it, it'll run out and I'll blow the cooldown. So I do want to activate this beforehand. I can still run. I can still right click and move while this is charging, and then I activate by clicking again to let it go. depending on how you've got your quick cast. I don't have quick cast on this. You see it actually knocks people out of the way, so you can use this in a hurry to kind of get out of danger. You know, it's a bit of a boost. You can use this as an engage. You can kind of just bowl through the enemy team and knock them all away and displace them all. So that's Surging Fist. Next one we've got is Consuming Blaze. It just casts fire. So you see you got fire there. Basic attacks will reignite the enemies. And I'm healed. Cho is healed. Cho'gall, I should say. Is healed for 95 when an enemy is ignited. So let's go take some damage. We'll show this in action. We'll play with these here. With these here mercenaries, as we're often to do. Alright. Alright. And you see this, I'm just going to keep, every time I punch, I'm going to heal myself for 95. That's actually going to if I let it go, you'll see it'll tick down a little bit. And eventually it will stop. There we go. But as long as I just sit here punching, that fire effect will just go indefinitely, because it refreshes every time I attack. So this is going to add to some self-sustain for Cho'gall. So you drop this in a group of enemies, you kind of go punch them all in the face, and you heal yourself in the process. The last ability is an interesting one, because this is where some of the coordination comes into play as well, is Rune Bomb. So, skill shot, it just rolls a bomb, it rolls a ball in a direction. Now, I don't think my CPU is going to do it, but what's supposed to happen to the Gall at any point in this roll is able to explode this. It'll make it detonate, and it will do a big area of effect damage. So, if I hit something, it will do some damage, but most of the damage is going to be done by Gall using his Runic Blast ability to explode it. I guess the CPU doesn't do this. Maybe it'll do it against Arthas. Let's go talk to Arthas and see if it'll do it against Arthas. I don't think so. I think in try mode the CPU is just kind of silly. Yeah, that's what I thought. No big deal. Alright. So, that is the basics of Cho. We'll take a look at his ults very quickly.
Choose a talent.
Alright, first one is Hammer of Twilight. So this is you gotta do one of these. It's got an arc here that will hit anything in that way, and it will knock it back, and it will stun it for a short time. So you activate, you'll swing your hammer, you do a chunk of damage, you'll push enemies away, you will stun them. It actually increases your basic attack damage by 25% for Cho, not for Gall. But that's, that can be useful. See, right now I'm doing 427 level 20, so that's nothing to sneeze at. Also, this can be useful as an interrupt. It can be useful just to, knock anybody away. Very short cooldown on this, 15 seconds, 15-second cooldown. So this is going to be up fairly often, and the passive bonus for the damage is pretty nice.
Choose a talent.
And see, as soon as I take that away, I go down to 342. The other ability is Upheaval. This is your more traditional ult, 60-second cooldown. After 1 second, pull enemies toward Cho'gall, slowing them and dealing a bunch of damage. So you see, it's this kind of cone arc skill shot here, and everybody gets pulled over. And it actually, this is a way, and because they would all get pulled like into this area, it will actually pull enemies behind to where you are, as you can see. So it's not going to leave them in front. So what a good combination is, for example, Gall will wind up and get ready to use his ult, maybe Shadow Volley, and you can pull everyone and pull them behind you, and then it loads them up, and then kind of sets everyone up for a big combo of some kind. It does take a second or two to wind up. Enemies can, walk out of that cone before it happens, and if it's close enough, everything will get pulled behind you. So it's something to keep in mind. I don't think it. There we go. So it's something to keep in mind, positioning on when this happens. But it's got a pretty decent range, and it definitely can surprise people, and get them out of position. So that's kind of Cho'gall in a nutshell. It's a risk reward. He's hard to take down if played correctly. He can do a lot of damage because it's two people in one. So in a 2v1 fight, essentially Cho'gall against one hero, that one hero could be in some trouble. The downside is, anything that's going to stop these guys is going to do it to two people. A Nubric casting Cocoon, for example, will just stop Cho'gall in its tracks. Anything that stasis will stasis, both heroes, and that's two people down. So it's risk reward. He can be very strong. You're not going to see a lot of him in a Hero League if you're playing Hero League. You may get pairs that use them in Team League, because Team League is, obviously more coordinated. Quick matches are hit and miss. I've played with my buddy. I've I've played against really good Cho'galls and I've played against really bad Cho'galls. Like I said, it does rely on kind of the Cho to do positioning, but that doesn't mean Gall doesn't have anything to do. One thing I didn't mention yet is there is an icon. You don't really see it here. I think you'll see it when I switch off to Gall. Gall can kind of shove Cho in a particular direction. So let's switch off to Gall right now. I'm going to reset talents. I don't know how this is going to work in try mode, so we'll take a look. Alright, so right now my CPU is controlling, yeah, he's controlling me. I guess he's just going to stand there, which is fine. So, kind of like I mentioned, so here's shove. I can nudge Cho a small distance and grant him 25% move speed. I can't use it right now because my Gall, or my Cho rather, is mounted. This is his mount. He's just holding the horse, which is kind of funny. I've always enjoyed that. You know, I tend to use camera lock a lot more with Gall because it is up to the Cho to do all the moving. So the first thing, with my talents reset, first thing that Gall gets, he gets his own version of the trait. As you can see now, I've clicked it. I've got the purple under my feet. I do 25% more spell power damage, more ability damage, and all of my abilities are ability damage. So that's great. First thing we've got this here. I forget what it's called. I have Kill Rock. This is, it's on a pretty short cooldown. 45 seconds. You can hold 2 charges. I've got more, of course. I've got my cooldowns off. What this will do, we'll pop it there. It lasts for a decent amount of time. Up to 45 seconds. Yeah, that's a pretty solid amount of time. It will reveal anybody in the area. So all you pesky stealthers, Valera, Nova, you know, Zeratul, whatever you got going on, Samaro, it will reveal the stealthers. So you're going to want to keep this like in bushes. You want to keep this in area, and it does have a pretty wide arc. So you can kind of pop it down over here. You can reveal what's going on. This can be taken down with 2 basic attacks. So, you know, enemies obviously can kill it, but they do need to, you know, spend the time to actually do so. You know, and you can kind of just use it here as a zone of control, so you kind of see what's going on. Place it next to objectives while you're, you know, place it nearby when you're taking a boss. Anything the grant vision is pretty solid. So the second thing we've got is Shadow Flame. This is your main ability. Very, very short cooldown. Let me toggle cooldowns off. You'll see what I mean. Like, this is going to be up fairly often, only 3 seconds. This does a solid chunk of damage to heroes in the area. The next one is Dread Orb, 6-second cooldown. Throws a bomb that bounces each time. So you can kind of like spread this out. You can spin it around. You can see I can do one of these and make the bounce very close together. Or I can do one of these and make the bounce kind of far apart. If you hit anybody, it's just a chunk of damage for each bounce. So one, you know, if it hits them once, that's some damage. If it hits them on the second bounce, that's some more damage. It can be a little difficult to aim, especially if you've got somebody up close. You're going to want to do something like this. Maybe you'll hit them all in one shot. But another thing to keep in mind with both Cho and Gall, there's no mana involved. There's no mana here whatsoever, so you can cast your abilities as often as you want, as often as you see fit. You can see I'm casting this as Gall. I'm casting my stuff while Cho is mounted. So Cho can be running after someone on a mount, and I can still like kind of pew away and do some damage to him. The last thing we're going to see, we do see the Runic Blast. I did talk about it. I guess Cho is not going to fire it. I don't know how to fix that at all. But point is, when Cho sends his bomb out, I can blow this up, big AoE effect. And there are some talents and whatnot that improve kind of all of these abilities, and you can build into them. Gall's got his own ultimates as well. So let's take a look. First one is probably the more commonly picked one, Shadow Bolt Volley. You fire this off, and this will follow kind of where your mouse is going. It does take some time to reposition. Each one of these bolts is going to do a chunk of damage. You know, if somebody is right up in your grill right next to you, this is just going to unload on them, and it's going to do a whole bunch of damage. If they're far away, people might be able to avoid it. Maybe they won't get it with the full shot. You do have to be careful where you aim it. So, you know, if you aim it here and your enemy jumps on this side, it's really not going to get to them in time for the full effect. So you want to keep that in mind. What I see a lot, and this is why I mentioned with Cho's upheaval, what I see a lot is the Gall use Shadow Bolt Volley, and then Cho uses upheaval, and it pulls all the heroes behind them, and most of that volley is missed. So again, coordination with Cho'gall is key. It should go without saying, but I'm gonna keep mentioning it as often as possible. So that's Shadow Bolt Volley, very powerful one. It's just a lot of damage, far range, pretty decent range.
Choose a talent.
We're going to go Twisting Nether. Twisting Nether is the other one. After 1 second, and nearby enemies are slowed for 50%. while Gall channels, and up to 5 seconds, activate to deal a whole bunch of damage. So we'll do one of these. So anybody in this is going to be, you know, slowed down, and then I activate it, and kaboom. And kaboom. So anybody in this, so again, this is going to be one of those ones where you just want, you know, Gall is going to want to run, or Cho'gall is going to want to run into the middle of a group, and then you can explode. If I let this go, I believe it explodes on its own. There we go. Yep, if you just let it run out, it will explode on its own. So you run into the middle of a group. This will slow people down, hopefully keep them within your range, and then you can pop them for a big chunk of damage. This is, you know, 1,000 damage is pretty solid. I mean, it's not going to kill anyone straight away at level 20, level 21, but it's going to hit in an AoE, so if you've got like a whole bunch of people next to you, you can fire this off. Same idea, you fire this off, Cho can do upheaval, brings them all right here, and then, you know, you hit everyone in one shot, and then suddenly there's going to be, you know, 3-4 heroes that are down 1,000 hit points. That can be a big deal. So that's kind of Cho'gall in a nutshell. Try mode makes it a little bit difficult to kind of showcase just everything that can be done. He's a very unique hero, like I said, relies on a lot of coordination. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna hop into a pair of games. We're gonna cut out right now. We're gonna come back. We're gonna hop into a game. We're gonna see. We might split this into 2 parts depending on how long this is gonna take. But we'll split it off. We'll play one game while I'm controlling Cho, one game while I'm controlling Gall. I'm gonna, you know, get my friend on board, and we're gonna get together and play some quick match. I think I mentioned this before, but just in case, something to keep in mind. Again, if Cho gets stunned or gets silenced or gets rooted or whatever it is, Gall can still cast. Gall can still cast abilities. So even if like Wailing Arrow comes out and it silences, Gall is still going to cast. It only really affects Cho. So Gall's going to do most of the damage. Cho is really just going to, you know, kind of there to pick up the kills and to position and body block, and he is a big solid body. Other things that Cho'gall has to worry about, anything with max % health damage. So, you know, you've got 8,000 hit points at level 21. So anything that does maximum health % damage you're gonna watch out for. Tychus can eat through Cho'gall's health pretty quickly. Leoric with his Drain Hope build is going to eat through Cho'gall's health pretty quickly. Anything Giant Killer is going to do it pretty quickly. Anything with max health % damage will do a lot of damage to Cho'gall in a short period of time. So that's something else that you need to watch out for. You know, both in drafting and just even playing if you get it. You know, he does very well against people who don't have that, who can't do a lot of burst damage in a quick period of time. I've seen Valeera against him. Valeera just is going to have a nightmare of a day, partly because of the Eye of Kilrog is going to reveal her, partly because even if she does manages to get in and stun Cho'gall, or stun Cho, Gall is still going to be able to unload on her while she's in there. So she's going to be in for some trouble. Yeah, it's tough. It requires the right team to build around Cho, if you have it. You know, this is not a hero that you're going to want to pair like Brightwing with. I think Oriole is still like a very solid bet, just because you put the hat on Cho'gall, Oriole follows him around. Cho'gall's doing just a ton of damage, and in the meantime, Oriole can stack up on the energy and do what's needed to get done. Anyway, when we come back, we will be playing one of the 2 heads. I don't know where we're going to start off with. We'll see how it goes, and I'll catch you after the break.
The combat heroes.
Alright, welcome back everybody. So what you should be seeing, if I did this correctly, is a split screen. You should see 2 images, one on your left, one on your right. So we're going to do a little bit of Cho'gall double feature. So Cho should be on your left. Cho is controlled by myself. We've got him highlighted. This is where I'm recording the audio, is on the Cho side of things right now. On the right side, you should see my friend who's playing Gall. So she doesn't play Gall normally, so I kind of walked her through what we wanted to do. I think she was a good sport, so I appreciate that. Let's see how this works out. Trying something new. Anyway, so we end up at Haunted Mines. Haunted Mines, I think, works out for Cho'gall. It's a 2-lane map, so you don't have to spread ourselves too thin. And we're going to start off here by heading toward the bottom. Looks like Lili is going to come our way, along with Diablo and Nazebo are going to head up to the top. So hopefully, again, if I'm doing this right, you should see both screens should be basically simultaneous. It should be all the action happening at the same time. The main difference is you're going to see like the hotbars and the cooldowns on each individual person is going to be from their perspective. So just for some input from that. At any rate, So Sergeant Hammer is on the bottom. We chase her away a little bit. We do trade people up on the top. But for now, the goal is just kind of hang out in the lower level. Poke when we can and soak up that sweet, sweet XP. And with Lily here, there really isn't anything that Hammer can do. Now, I went in for a surging dash and I kind of prematurely fired it. I might have been able to get the kill on Hammer if we did this. Hammer's actually hiding behind the walls, which is smart, although we do have some abilities to go by that. Again, missed the dash. I was having some trouble with the dash at the beginning of the game. I did get the timing down as things went on, but I was a little rusty at the start. Anyway, Genji comes down to chase. We're going to tap the well. You'll notice that I did take the trait back when I was low on health. I think we eventually swap it back once this goes back up. There we go, there's the trait again. So traits up on Gall's side, maximum damage. So we get in the middle of 3 people. Hammer, I believe, does get away using the dash because, again, we missed up the surging fist. Now it's a 4-on-3. And that could be a little rough, but Karazhan goes into the mines. He's going to start picking up skulls. Genji dashes off because he's low on health. Hammer is in a precarious position. We may have had the opportunity to pick him off. He just gets away from the bomb. We dash away there. Now at this point, Stitches sticks around too far. His team has left him. Now it's a 3-on-1. Diablo turns around. I believe he gets the flip. There we go. And then we get a kill. Gall picks off the kill with Shadow Flame. So that was pretty solid. So we get the early kill. At this point, we're doing okay. We've got the early advantage. We've got a 4-on-3 lead. We've got a Talon up, although they're about to tag 4 right now. Finish off this XP, and we're going to go into the mine to help out with some of the skulls. Again, since we were low before, I did take back the trait. I'm going to use the trait to kind of fuel myself to get some health back, which we're doing right here. See, every time we punch one of these minions who's been hit with the Consuming Blaze, we're going to get ourselves some heals. Lily's helping out as well. Give ourselves some self-sustain. So Cho'gall is kind of a late game hero. He can be a little trickier in the beginning. He does get some abilities which you'll see, which will give him some crazy self-sustain toward the end of the game once we get to 13 and 16. Also, you'll notice every time I do Surging Dash, it's pointing to where my mouse is on the replay, not where I actually did it in the game. So just be aware of that. Get a couple more kills. So 3 people are down. Hammer's gonna run away. I think I go and chase for a moment. I throw a bomb just to keep her away for a second or two, and we go back in, and we're gonna head back towards that golem. Now in the meantime, we're getting the golem. They picked up a merc camp, and they're going to start pushing our top fort. Here's some action over here. Karazhan goes in too deep. He's stuck behind 3 people. 4 people now. He's going to get himself killed. Also good for us. Finish off the golem. We get all the skulls. They actually end up with more skulls than we do at the start of this game. And good move by Diablo to get the charge and the flip in order to ensure that Genji kill. And here we go. So you see we've got Jaina and Hammer. They're pushing our fort hard up top. So we're going to head up that way to try to defend it. The fort's going to go down before we get there, basically as we show up. Hammer hits a good concussive blast right as we get in there, probably save Jaina from getting killed straight away. She does stick around just a second too long. We're going to pursue. We've got 4 people chasing Jaina. I think she's going to be done for. There's the fist, and Diablo goes in, and we finish the kill off. Karazhan needs to bail out of this sapper camp as we take over. We'll just say thank you very much. In the meantime, if you notice up in the upper top, Hammer is still right behind that golem up on the top. Genji goes in, trying to get a last-minute steal. I'm not quite sure what the plan was there. Very, very aggressive. Very dangerous on his part. So we're going to go back up. We see Hammer up top. We don't like what's going on up there. She could be... If we let her go, she can basically just go straight through the keep. She does get away. We didn't quite get the body block off. However, Diablo, as he's done a few times in this game already, gets the charge, gets the flip, and we secure the kill. At this point, we're doing okay. We're not in the best position. We did lose a fort, but we still have an experience lead, if only a slight one. That golem on our side is going to go down before it does any damage, any big damage to our fort. Jaina goes in for another sapper camp. They were very aggressive on the camps, and we were also very aggressive at chasing them away throughout most of this game. We're going to go in here, and we're going to take this sapper camp as the rest of our team takes care of the golem. Lily comes in to assist. Notice what happens here. They're going to come in here. The enemy team's going to come in here to engage. Lily kind of just backs off. I don't think she expected me to go in. Yeah, she kind of backs off. I go full ham. And also, we make a mistake here. Watch this, right there. So that was the shove ability. The Gall on my team, she went to go use it to get away, and instead she accidentally pushed us back into the enemy team. We might have been able to escape if it wasn't for that. Unfortunately, that was a misplay and would cost us a life. Our team now is a little late to that party, and they unfortunately get wiped as a result. Diablo tries his best. Does not quite manage to get away, unfortunately. So that puts us on the backside. So that was an unfortunate team wipe. So we all get killed. Now we're a level behind. They are easily going to get 10 before us. Yep, there's a go. Just about. We sneak over here again. We chase Genji off. They're not that far behind now. See, there's Jaina. We take a lot of damage from the blizzard, and we immediately have to back off. They do get 10 in the interim. See, we sit here. We're going to use these siege giants as kind of a method to restore some of our health. In the meantime, our team's going over there, and they're engaging below near the watchtower. We might have been able to help them out a little bit sooner. We charge in again. A good blast by Hammer puts us in a poor position. Another poor charge on that was my fault. Absolutely 100% my fault. So we go through, and a good hook by Stitches gets Kid over to Zebo. Diablo's gonna go down. I think Lily just gets away. She thinks about it. Actually, she thinks about it, almost gets picked off. She does manage to escape with her life. Now at this point, we're kind of in dire straits. The objective's just spawning. We've got 2 people dead. They already have 11 and a half, and we're not even at 10 yet. So we really want to be careful about picking any fights. We don't want to get into a full team fight. We're going to be down skills, and we got to be careful about that. So rather than go straight into the mine, I'm just going to let them farm up some skulls. I'm going to go down here. Jaina gets killed by something. I didn't even see what. It looks like a minion, so that is good news for us. In the meantime, we're going to just farm these minions. I want to get as close to 10 as possible before we go into the mine. Alright, our team's already dived in, so we're going to hop in here as well. We're going to start picking up some skulls. I see Nazebo over here, so I'm going to go pick up this camp. And while we go through, this is where we're going to grab 10. So we're still down 2 levels, because they're about to tag 12. We're still down a level and change, but at least we both have our ultimates at this point. So Genji goes up. He gets stunned because I take Twilight Hammer. We'll talk about the skills, the talents taken all the way at the end. But because of that stun, we prevent him from getting fully away, and we do manage to secure the kill there. In the meantime, our Nazebo goes down. Now watch this play. Watch this unfold. This is very interesting. So we have 2 guys down here. I kind of smack him and I go back inside. Lily goes outside, and then she doesn't follow me back. So she bails out and just kind of keeps going. So this is a 2-on-1 fight. Now I'm focusing on Stitches. I might have been better suited focusing on Karazim. I do kind of smack him away there to kind of isolate the 2. Now as Cho'gall, I took the ability that every subsequent hit that I do on the same person does bonus damage, and that does quick. You see, it does quick work on Stitch's large health pool, and he goes down. Now Nazebo comes in to help out. Karazim is stranded, and that's 2 kills. So that worked out in our favor. We're going to ignore Hammer, try to heal up a little bit on some of these goblins, or skeletons, guardians, whatever it is that you want to call them. Alright, now we do see... There's Genji over there. He's going to get the kill on Lily. Unfortunately, we don't have any CC to stop that, and he gets away. We're going to charge back down. Thankfully, Nazeebo's there to put up the wall, and that keeps him in check. We see Jaina right here. We're going to charge down. And there's a quick kill. I don't think she expected that. So it's alright. We lost one, but they lost 3. There's still a talent up, because they're a half level ahead. We did catch up a little bit. And here is the 2 of them. Here is that Stitches Charism combo again. And unfortunately, I run probably the wrong way. I run away from my team rather than toward the team. Because of that, we get low on health. Stitches is able to grab the hook, and they get the kill. Diablo goes down. Nazeebo, I'm not quite sure what Nazeebo was thinking right there. Probably should have backed off at that point. They do try to engage, they throw some stuff out. Now watch this exchange. Here's another interesting one that I think the team makes a mistake on. So the team leaves the mines, and then they kind of go right back in, and they end up getting themselves picked off. See, there's Nazeebo, and there's Lily, excuse me. But the enemy team, they come out right there, and they don't realize that we're coming, and we get 2 kills right off the bat. So like we essentially make up that trade, and I think this is a big turning point in the game. They would have had a much larger lead. As it turns out, we kind of even off the exchange. We get 2 kills. Now, what we do have to watch out for, we're still down a level, and their golem is going to be significantly stronger than ours coming in. Unfortunately, I had already used my Twilight Hammer, so I couldn't stun Genji out of his ult, but Diablo manages to wisely go into the mines to avoid the killing blow on himself. I do hope, throughout this, you've been watching the trade-off of the trait. You know, when, like right there, for example, when Gall takes it for the maximum damage, and when I use it to try to keep myself alive. 13, and again, we'll talk about the talents at the end. At 13, I took the talent for Surging Fist, where every time I use it, it will increase the attack speed for 5 seconds. That's a fairly significant increase as well. You start to see it right there. I've got to back off to avoid the stun. But look how fast I'm hitting right there. Now imagine that once I have, and I think you're seeing it too, once I've got Consuming Blaze on a target, every time you hit somebody, you're going to heal yourself. Like, that's just a huge amount of self-sustain. Plus, when you couple that with the level 4 talent where you do bonus damage to the same hero, you can take down a hero's health pool pretty quickly. So we take down the Golem, we keep our keep alive. There's still a level up. But this is not a lost cause. So we go in, we're going to take the Sapper Camp. Team comes in to assist. Look how fast I'm hitting there. Big deal. Big power spike. Charism comes in along with Genji. But that is an unfortunate situation. Here comes the rest of the team. Look at that. Bang. We get 4 people with the stun on the Apocalypse. There's 1 goes down. There's 2 kills. Jaina gets punched. She's going to get killed. Stitches is fighting with Diablo, but he has help from us. There's the flip, there's a punch, and there's the kill. Now, just like that, now it's a tie game. Now we both have our level 16s. In fact, we might even say we've got an advantage. They do have a structure advantage, but they're all dead, and we have some opportunity to work with. We don't push straight away. We take the opportunity to get some more Sapper Camps. But look at the healing I'm doing right there. So at level 16, took the ability where you become unstoppable while casting that fist, and in addition, you heal every time for every second. So you kind of just let that go, and you can heal yourself back up if you're not actually using it on something. It's crazy strong. Huge power spike for Cho'gall, and makes him very, very difficult to take down if you time your cooldowns correctly. So now we get 3 people coming straight in. Fortunately, we didn't need that entire 7-sided strike, and then Charism comes down and gets killed as soon as he pops out of it. We move into position. Jaina eats most of that Shadow Bolt volley, and she gets killed again. And now the game starts to kind of get snowbally in the other side, as they have a very difficult time killing me. And the team I'm with, you know, had excellent support. Look, there's the health I get from the fist, and I get to dash away, keeping myself alive. There we go. Stitches goes down. We're gonna charge up here and just get ourselves some extra health. Go into the mines. More. Look at this heal. It's ridiculous. And just like that, I'm back at basically full health. And we toggled the trait back over because just to get the maximum damage. Now they're getting some skulls, but as you might be able to tell by the timer, there's not much left in this game, and you'll see just the power that that we have over them as we go through. Here's another exchange here. Genji's going in, but there's two of them right there. We charge through and get 2 quick kills. Diablo gets the flip and the kill, even with the 7-sided strike hitting us. Just too much health going on. There's a big stun, and that Shadow Bow volley basically unloads on them. That's a full team wipe. We're going to get the golem right here and kind of just walk it all the way through. There we go. So we've got a very solid golem lead, 72 to 27 in the skull, so pretty much a full golem lead. As we realize that we missed a skull, and I go walk over and pick it up. Alright, that's gonna start things off. I'm gonna head down to the bottom. Now they have respawned at this point, just because we're gonna pop over here and finish off this sapper camp just to get a little extra oomph. In the meantime, we took down the bottom fort, so the golem just has the keep to walk into. There is some action up to the right. We sneak through. Here's a Shadow Bolt volley that eats hammer alive. Basically picks off Jaina as well. Stitches is going to try to get away. I think he just about gets it. Genji bails out. And they just lost 2 people. Karazim walks into us trying to get away. Here comes Stitches. We're going to charge through, get ourselves some health. We're going to hit him once, and he's just, because of the dot, there he goes. That leaves only Genji alive. And the golem is pounding on their keep on the bottom, and it's just about to go down. There it goes. This is a 4-on-2, 4-on-3, but the golem is on their core, and it's pretty full health. Genji tries, he gets killed, we knock him into the stun from the boss. And as you might imagine, that's pretty much all she wrote. The core went down just seconds after this. So that is Cho'gall in a nutshell. Now I do want to say, I almost made it sound like, we were kind of a one-man or at least a 2-person wrecking crew toward the end of that. It wasn't true at all. We definitely had support from the Zebo. Diablo was on point for the whole game with great CC, and Lily was there to help us heal up when we needed to, just to help out with our self-sustain. So look at the stats. We did pretty well. I think normally you'll see Gall ends up doing more damage, doing the majority of the damage with the Shadow Flame, but as it turned out, I like to punch people in the face, so we got a lot of damage out of that, and they stood there, and they let me punch them in the face, so that was quite nice of them, as the case was. Let's take a peek at the talents. We'll go through both Cho and Gall. So level 1 for Cho, I took Calloused Hide. Ogre Hide also increases healing received by 15%, so this is going to just tie in with the self-sustain, so whenever I toggle the toggle the trait toward Cho, toward me as it was because I was driving, right? So whenever Cho toggles the trait, he's just going to get, in addition to being harder to kill because he's going to have armor, he's going to get more healing. That's going to be self-sustained sources, that's going to be Lily, you know, you punch somebody from who's got consuming blaze, it's going to more healing from that, obviously is going to make it harder to kill you, and that's important. Level 4, Seared Flesh. Whoops. Each consecutive basic attack to an enemy hero deals 20% more damage, up to a maximum of 60% damage. This bonus lasts 5 seconds or till a different enemy is attacked. I think you saw that a couple of times when I was doing that, especially when I was doing that 2v1 with Stitches and Karazim. I just continued to focus on Stitches, and his health went down pretty quickly. It does, if you stand there and go toe to toe, even without Gall shooting shooting his nukes, you'll do a surprising amount of damage, and I think it takes people by surprise. Level 7, Firestarter. Basic attacks against ignited heroes decreases the cooldown of Consuming Blaze, by 1 second, and just passively it reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds. So the idea here, obviously, Consuming Blaze, keep that up as much as possible. The more that's up, the more you're hitting things, the more you're healing. So cast it, hit things, lower the cooldown, cast it again, you know, keep yourself alive. Level 10, I went with Hammer of Twilight. Activate to swing the hammer, 15-second cooldown as we talked about in try mode. It will stun people, knock them away, just a little, you know, knockback. The damage isn't bad. It's not really what you use it for, but you do get basic attack damage is 25% increase, and that's going to combo in here when you go along with Seared Flesh, so that works out quite nicely. Speaking of something that's going to synergize with your auto attacks is Frenzied Fist. 75% attack speed for 5 seconds after using Surging Fist. So, I mean, I think you saw that a couple times. I use Surging Fist, I run in, and then I immediately just start punching the same target 5 times in quick succession. A lot of damage that goes on right there. Level 16, this is, I think, between 13 and 16, this is like the big power spike that you get when channeling Surging Fist. Cho is unstoppable, that's I think the big thing. I mean, the heal is fantastic, the heal is really huge, but I think the unstoppable is the big deal. You're unstoppable while channeling this, and you heal. So you could conceivably, use this channel and move out of the way because you're unstoppable and they can't stun you to keep you, in their grasp, and heal the whole time. And then when the channel is up, you let go and you just get away. Makes Cho'gall very, very hard to kill if you use this correctly. So, and then level 20, I mean, the game at that point, the game was kind of in our favor at that point. I did take Hour of Twilight, decreases the death timer by 50%. I wasn't quite sure what to go with at 20. We'd already died 3 times, some of which due to silly means. I didn't want to, we had made a good comeback. I didn't want to risk it and accidentally get caught out. So just in case, a level 20 death timer is going to be something like 60 seconds or something like that. That's a long time. Let's cut that in half. So to make it a big deal, because when you've got 2 people, 2 people and that death timer is big, and if you can cut it off, that's fantastic. All right, let's take a look at Gall. Gall, level 1, took Taskmaster, reduced the cooldown of Shove by 10 seconds. Every time Cho is hit by a basic attack, which is going to be often, reduce the cooldown of Shove by 1 second. So we used Shove both defensively, we did use it offensively. I think we used it at one point to kind of shove. I think my Gall here used it to shove me closer to Jaina or to Genji to kind of pick off a kill. She did use it the one time to accidentally kill me, but that certainly happens, no big deal. So you're going to want this up more often. Sana kind of speaks for itself. Level 4. Runic Persistence. Runic Blast deals an additional 395 damage over 3 seconds in the area. So wherever she blows this up, whenever Gall blows this up, blows up the bomb, just kind of roll it off, and it leaves a little AoE there that does some extra damage. It's not huge. It's just kind of some zone control because you can drop the bomb there, and it will just get some extra damage. Level 7. We never actually finished this quest, but here we go. Double Trouble. If Shadow Flame hits an enemy hero that is afflicted by Cho's Consuming Blaze, its cooldown is reduced by 1 second. So, you drop Consuming Blaze and you hit Shadow Flame, you get to cast it more frequently. More damage is great. And if after hitting 20 heroes, and we didn't quite do it, but after hitting 20 heroes, the Shadow Flame cooldown is instead permanently reduced by the second. So even if you miss, you still get the Shadow Flame reduced by the second. Again, more damage, more uptime, and since there's no mana cost, you can just spam the hell out of it. It's a pretty solid spike, if you can complete the quest. Level 10, Shadow Bolt Volley. You saw this in action a couple times. Unleash 20 shadow bolts over 4 seconds. each dealing a bunch of damage to the first target hit. We definitely unloaded on a couple of targets and got some straight kills about that. This is something that you need to watch out for when you're facing Cho'gall, because if you get up in his grill, he can unload on this, and he can even cast this when stunned. When Cho is stunned or rooted or something like that, Gall can still drop this on you, so you do kind of have to be careful. Level 13 is Searing Shadows. Enemy heroes hit by Shadow Flame take an additional 2% of their maximum health, excuse me. So just this kind of synergized with your Double Trouble. Where they had Stitches as the big high health hero. I think really Stitches here was the only one that really took a lot of damage from it. But again, more damage of their maximum health. You're going to cast this more often, hopefully, because you're going to have finished this quest. And just more damage across the board. I mean, that's what Gall's for. Gall is the one to do all of the damage in most cases. Level 16 is Shadow Snare. Shadow Flame slows the enemy heroes by 10% for 4 seconds. You can stack this. You've got to make sure you hit your Shadow Flame successfully in order to stack it, but even just the one shot is going to slow them down just a little bit, which might give you just enough time as Cho to run up there and catch, and close the gap and kind of punch somebody in the face and get some extra damage. And then at level 20, we took Shadow Fury, which is Shadow Bolt Volley pierces. So if you get in a big cluster and we unload Shadow Bolt Volley, it will go through the enemy team, and then if they're not, they don't expect it or they're not paying attention, it can really cause a lot of havoc. So that's Cho'gall in a nutshell. I hope that was interesting. Hopefully the screen, you're able to see what was going on within the action. That was kind of the double feature. I know I've been trying to get this out for a little while. Very strong hero. You get the idea of the coordination that was involved. You definitely want to time your trait swaps correctly. You've got to work on the blowing up the bombs. I don't think we got any bomb kills, but you do have to work in timing when you want to blow up the bomb. Like when's the best time? Are you going to use it to blow up a minion camp? Or are you going to do damage on the heroes? Are you going to unload on the structures or anything like that? It's a very, very powerful hero when it has a team to complement it. I think the heroes gods were in our favor for this game. We got a 2-lane map. We got a healer that had some blinds. Lily is still pretty solid, even though she got nerfed a little bit. Diablos and Nazeebo have some real solid CC, which allows us to combo up and do the damage that we need. You got to play it cautiously when you can. And on top of that, they did not have, what they did not have were any heroes that really did percent damage. And that's the thing you have to be scared of as Cho'gall. They didn't have a Leoric, they didn't have a Tychus, they didn't have anybody with Giant Killer. I guess Hammer, although Hammer, was really kind of easy to stay away from. They didn't have any of those heroes that can really chunk Cho'gall very quickly. Even, Greymane's Curse Bullet that we were talking about in the last video, that would have done some damage right there. 40% of 7,000 health. I mean, that's a huge chop off just off one shot. So got to be careful about that. That's the main weakness. They also lacked, they lacked a lot of CC. Stitches had the hook, and Jaina has the slows, but they didn't have a whole lot of CC otherwise going for them. They didn't have really many roots. They didn't have, other than Jaina, they didn't really have any slows. So that worked in our favor as well. We were able to kind of dive in and then get out of dodge when the case, afforded it. Oh, so that's Cho'gall. As always, I will put both builds in this case up on Heroes Hearth. Post them in the descriptions. Do the like, the share, the subscribe. If you're interested, I think you should be seeing right about now or in a few seconds. I'm gonna post here a link to the to my video on Hanamura and kind of go over the map mechanics and why I think a lot of people are misplaying it. I think it's pretty interesting. I actually just played a Hanamura game right before this, and the exact same things that I was complaining about in that video happened. And we did fortunately win, but we probably could have won more handily if we followed that. I think it's worth checking out. Do like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Anyway, as always, my name is Conman, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you, and take care.